Hi, and welcome to the Sony booth at NAB 2025. We're here at the virtual production booth, and we're showing you all the cool stuff that's happening on the virtual production side of Sony, including our new LED wall VERONA at a 1.5 pitch, which we are now shooting in a very aggressive angle, 90 degrees here. But because we make the LED wall and the camera, we can then compensate that off angle color shift that's happening so the camera, Venice 2, that we have right over here, can then see that angle looking like a flat image on the output. And here's the output looking very flat, and you don't see the seams of the angle, and you also don't see the color shift happening even when it's off angle. And there you are right over there on the shot. Okay. And the way we're able to track the camera is we're using Sony's new camera tracking system called the Ocellus. The Ocellus is what's sitting right on top of the camera here, and it has 5 Sony sensors all around the camera, one in the front, top, sides, and one in the back. And that's allowing us to create a 3D map of the environment without any markers or any infrared cameras, allowing us to then be free deep protocol, transferring directly that information via live link to Unreal. And in Unreal, we're able to now know where the position of this camera is in the 3D environment. And it also has an IMU inside, so it'll give us gyro data as well via this USB cable, USB-C, that goes over here. And it goes right into the processing unit that comes in as part of this. This is where all the processing is happening for tracking the camera, but it's also able to record a FBX file inside the processing unit that we can then give to our VFX guy and have them add AR elements even if we're shooting outside. So you could use this outside, you could use it indoors in a green screen environment or in an LED wall environment, and it is camera agnostic. You don't have to use it with a Sony camera, but there are some benefits of using it with a Sony camera. One of them is that we're using a smart lens. The Fujinon 28-100 allows us to get this lens metadata in through the camera and out via the SDI cable. That same SDI cable is also giving us gen lock, so we have minimal cableage happening here. We only have 4 cables. The USB-C that's coming from the tracker, the SDI that gives us lens metadata as well as gen lock, and then the Ethernet cable that goes directly to the Unreal Engine via the FreeD protocol, via Live Link. And over here we have power, which is coming out of the D-tap right here so that we can actually power the box before it hits the camera. And now let me show you guys a couple of things that's happening on our virtual production toolset side. We are the only camera manufacturer who has a plugin for Unreal Engine, which allows us to have a virtual camera in Unreal. And that virtual camera has all the same settings you just saw in the real camera, but in Unreal Engine. What you're looking at here is the 3D point cloud of the Ocellus camera tracking system, and that is the environment that we're in right now. And if we change the environment or we change the set design, we would just need to recalibrate for about 10 to 15 minutes a new map of that environment so that we can track. There is something important in virtual production that we try to avoid as much as possible, and that's called moire. And so Sony has created 3 levels of moire detection. One is in previs, where we can detect moire before the shoot, and we can know where our camera should be in relation to the wall, what kind of lens we should use, and also how we should not focus on the wall, at what point do we start to see moire. That can happen in real time as well. While we're shooting, we can actually pull the focus and see if the moire is happening. Right there, you can see that it's blue. Blue means I'm focusing behind the wall. Yellow means I'm almost at moire, and then red means I'm at moire. So if I zoom out a little bit here, I'll go ahead and zoom in. And now, Brett, can you pan over to that corner again, please? Thank you. Perfect. So now you can see here where I'm getting moire only on the top part, because we do have a ceiling, right? And that ceiling is moire, but the yellow part is not in moire. So that gives us and the DP, either in pre-production, it allows us to see where the moire will happen so we can avoid it. It doesn't correct it because it's a physics problem, right? It's when the pixels of the camera see the pixels of the LED wall. But we can also see it now in the metadata of the file. With the new version of the Venice firmware, we can actually record the moire information as metadata and be able to view at what point I am moiring in my file. So you can see the red here on the line, that's where the moire is happening. And anything that's yellow or green is where I'm safe from any moire. And that's a beta version of the raw viewer from Sony, as well as the beta version of the firmware on the Venice 2 that allows us to get that moire metadata happening. All right. Thank you so much for your time. And if you want more information, check out Sony.com and look up virtual production, and you'll find out all the information of what we showed here today. Thank you so much.